Okay. No, I chose that. I chose that music. Hi, because to me it sounded like because even though I've been watching more other news and things like that, now that we know, those people are passed away, but we need to be aware that others in Switzerland and all the different hospitals are still struggling to stay alive. I watched some funerals yesterday in Italy, one in Rome. I believe there was one in Milan. Uh, really sad. Somebody made a huge mural with his brother by him, a drawing, and it looks just like them. His younger brother, who is alive, who was sitting in the front row, and this was the Arturo. I think it's Arturo. 16-year-old boy, and the mother. And I was watching her every little move, and she's so strong. She's so strong. She literally, every person that came into that church, she hugged and embraced and took the time to do that. She was the one that was showing her phone like this and saying, "Does anyone know where my son is?" She had long brown hair. I can't remember the last name, but she found out after doing that a couple days later that he was one of them that had passed away, which she was trying to mentally prepare for. She said, "I just want to know if he's in the hospital or already passed away or whatever." And I don't know if that was the father or boyfriend with her sitting up front, but they were comforting each other. One teenage young man was just sobbing when just the music was going on, and the music wasn't majorly somber. In the beginning, it was a little bit upbeat, but not upbeat, but just sort of medium upbeat. Um, so I'm seeing a lot of article or news stations saying, this isn't just a hi MS0426. Hi, hun. Thanks for you guys being here, you and Freeside. I don't know if there's any more. I never know when I'm going to go live. Um, oh, Daniel Berry Sports. Hello. Hi, you guys. Um, it looks like I cut my hair. I didn't. I just washed it this time. Well, I wash it, but this time I put a bunch of conditioner in it. And yeah, but I didn't cut it. I didn't even trim the bangs. Bangs are getting longer. I put a little gray barrette in right there to go with my gray. But uh so anyway, yeah, this very well could happen in the States. And it has, right? With the station fire. So it has happened, in 2003 in Rhode Island, where they didn't have sprinklers, and they didn't have a good enough exit to leave. And think of all the divey bars out there. I mean, I think of the divey bars that I've been to in the past. Um, they're all over. I went to one in Punta Gorda, Florida, when I went and visited my sister back when I was 30, and then another biker bar somewhere else. I'm not saying all biker bars are like dangerous place, but if they're just kind of wooden material, right? They sure can be, but now we're seeing, because of the last live I did, that nightclubs, right, that are supposed to be built a little bit better, you would think, right? Something that big and holding that many people. I mean, there's many. I talked about 10 last time, and that's just the 10 I spoke about were with caused because of the pyrotechnics. The one in Rio de Janeiro, and the one in Wuhan, China, and then another one in France, where the whole band died. So, and then you know how once you speak about it, look into things, all this stuff comes up on your iPad or your whatever, stuff you don't even Google and ask for. I don't even have it on settings for that. I actually have it turned off, but it still comes in. Um, so last night I found out from APT News that, and they're an international, company, and they cover things in a timely manner, which is what I like about them the most. Um, that Mrs. Moretti, right, the female owner, grabbed the till. Somebody saw her do it and ran out the door. That's so sick, to be thinking about money during a fire and not your patrons slash friends and regulars that come there all the time. That's sick. I'm going to say it right here. I hope she gets jail time, prison time, something, anything, a whole year, anything. If her and her husband get a slap on the wrist, I'm going to be pissed. I don't really think that's going to happen, though. I don't. Because there's also a bunch of families now that have filed lawsuits uh, against the bar. Now, I think I read 70. Supposedly, when I turned on my other iPad to pick out the music for this live, she's apologized. Hi, West Cruise 3878. Thanks for being here. So supposedly she's apologized. I haven't heard the video yet, but a lot of these parents were in other restaurants having a meal, or not a meal at 1:30 in the morning, but they were at private parties or a different bar, or maybe home, or maybe sleeping or whatever, and they let their kids go to a place where supposedly backpacks were allowed in, with booze that these young teenagers had bought somewhere else, and then in the establishment they bought the cheaper beers, because beer is cheaper than booze. And they were somebody said nobody was checking wrists for bands later on. People weren't getting carded later on. It was sort of just a free for all. And that's just wrong. Just to appease the public, or just let everybody in so they can make more money, just makes me sick. I haven't heard much about Jacques Moretti. I think his wife's name is Jessica, but I could be wrong. But I know it starts with a J also. And, there's talk that he has a lot of past troubles And I'll just leave it at that. And how he was able to, and was allegedly even in prison at one point, how he was able to come into that town, take over a restaurant, rebuild it, try to, refurbish it in an unsafe way. That upsets people too. So it's not just the exit, it's so many things. It's the fact that exit in the back, people didn't know of the second exit. They weren't lit very well. One supposedly was blocked. The glass was like a plexiglass, so it was really, really hard to break. But the main thing is the little skinny stairwell that went up to the outside just got crammed with people. And probably a lot of those people, before they burned to death, trigger warning, succumbed to the fumes, which I hope they did, so they didn't have to feel the fire. I watched a burn unit program the other night, and I'm sure she was asked if it was okay. Maybe not. They blurred out her face. I could tell she was a young, sort of teenage girl. It wasn't from this Swiss fire. It could have been a car accident, a car explosion. I don't know, but it was from 3 years ago, and they just wanted to shed some light and show how these burn unit people have to be mentally really so strong, that there's actually a mental health unit right there in the hospital, because some of the cases are just worse than even others. But these are critically burned people. And I saw a woman whose arms were completely bandaged up. Her hands were like stubs. And 3 times a day, they have to put this gel on the body and then rewrap. And each time it takes an hour and a half. Yeah, and it has to be done 3 times a day. And of course, everyone, it's in a very sterile and everything environment. But it showed this poor woman. You could tell it was a female leg. Hi, Sam Gloves. Thanks for being here. And she lifted her leg up, which she was able to do, and it was just black, purple, red, whatever, all the way down. It looked so painful. I heard her voice. They were like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "Yeah." She just sounded like a young teenager. But again, I don't know if this was like from a fire and I don't know what she was in there for. Anyway, it was really sad. And then, of course, they showed a man. You could tell he was a man. His arms, the arm size and everything. His arms were like this. He was on his back in the bed, and his arms were burnt, open. They weren't all covered up with bandages because he was about to have that done. They must have taken the bandages off already, and they were stiff like this. And I'm thinking, my gosh. So, hi, Sierra. Hi there. Thanks for being here. So, it's incredible to see people bandaged up like a mummy. It's incredible to see parts of their bodies bandaged up. And it's incredible to see these limbs and someone's entire back when they're on their stomach and they have to have this gel put all over it. To see that, to see burned limbs. It said warning and all this, but I thought, well, I've seen some surgeries on TV and I can handle that, and but I am glad they blocked out the faces, and it's good they did that. But apparently, like I said the other night, They have to slough off the dead skin first. So these people are in there for weeks and then up to months. And then they have their skin grafts and all their surgeries later on. I don't know. After what I saw the other night, I think I'd rather the Lord just take me than go through that. I think I would. So it wasn't a real long video, but I watched that and it was very telling. It actually showed one of the women before she went into the room with this young female crying. Like I rewound it to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing. She was crying. There was a man doctor, in their all their stuff next to her, and she was crying and she wiped her eyes, and it I don't know, like it was just very real, you guys. And so these doctors, they have to be really accountable, always there, right? Not a sickly kind of person at all, because they're needed. I think the narrator guy said they do 12-hour shifts, 12 on, 12 off, and they literally have to have so much care. Two nurses and a head nurse, and an assistant nurse per patient, not counting the doctor, not counting the physical therapy person and another person and a mental health person and a dietitian. That's the other thing. They're not just burned. If your whole throat and everything is burned, you can't even hardly eat. And if your face is burned, you can't even hardly open your mouth. So, man. All right, before I forget, I'm going to read the copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. So I'm going to pull this up and first show you the video where she ran out of the bar. They don't have the video, but the person saying that someone saw her that was in the bar do this. You can hear the little kids out there playing. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, you guys, 38 minutes ago, the Morettis were taken into custody. Oh, wow. So, the first one I want to show is where they say, fiddlesticks, you guys. Okay, it's the other newspaper. Okay, it's the Mirror. All right. Okay, and here it says Swiss bar owner arrested as flight risk while Switzerland mourns for 40 killed by the fire. Okay, before it pulled it right up. Okay. Swiss nightclub manager, well, she's also half owner or whatever, seen fleeing from burning building with till full of cash. Okay. This is the woman. That's the woman. And I've done enough videos on what's going on here. So all right, so I got everything all prepared for this, and now I can't find what I'm looking for. So I'll just have to, let me hit the very first one. All right, well, she's apologizing, so I'll show this one first. Can you read it? Okay, I don't hear her apologizing. All right, so Jessica Moretti allegedly ignored the concerns of hunters and fled with money as the fire spread throughout the La Constellation bar. All right, I'm going to have to turn it down and just read it. Then Ms. Moretti, who is co-owner of the bar with husband Jacques Moretti, 49. Ms. Moretti and her husband face charges of bodily harm by negligence, homicide by negligence, and arson by negligence. French national Ms. Moretti could also face additional charges for failing to assist people. Dozens died in the fire that spread quickly. Wow, flames ravaged the establishment. Jessica Moretti suffered an arm injury. Okay, security cameras caught her fleeing with the cash register. She prioritized making her escape with the cash register. Allegedly showed the co-owner leaving the site with the cash register that contained the day's takings in cash. The blaze was one of the worst in Swiss history, with tributes being paid to the dozens of victims. It is believed the inferno was started after candle sparklers were held up too close to the ceiling. One survivor recounted his miraculous escape from the blazing bar.
I don't even know how to explain it. I managed to get out. I don't even know how to explain it. I was there where it started, in the basement. I was in the basement, right in the middle of it, and I had to really grab a table. I had my friend in my arms. She slipped. Unfortunately, today she has gone missing. I had to take a table down to protect myself from the flames, overturn the table and hide behind it, because the flames had started pounding and people were trying to go upstairs. There was a crowd, and so I thought I was going to get burned if I tried to push. I was waiting for the people to get upstairs. I ran afterwards and we couldn't see anything. I grabbed the table and banged it against the windows, but it was plexiglass. It wasn't breaking. So I kicked it and everything fell down.
Même si nous sommes très tristes et nous serons tristes longtemps, mais il faut repartir avec l'espérance. L'espérance. Merci à nos évêques qui auraient dû être à côté de moi, mais je pense qu'ils sont plutôt près de vous, dans la foule. Merci et courage à tous.
She's the one that found her 16-year-old son, Arturo. Oh, here it is.
Une pensée constante envers les victimes. C'est une tragédie inimaginable et ça s'est passé dans notre établissement. Et je veux m'excuser pour toutes les victimes et les personnes qui se battent encore aujourd'hui.
I don't feel sorry for her.
Maître Hayat, un commentaire?
Pardon.
On va passer ce point-là.
I don't know if that's her mother or what. probably more recent with all the snow blowing. Okay, they want to get a copyright from the music, so I was gonna.
Parce que la vie s'arrête net.
Okay. Wow. Oh, goodness gracious.
That's why you need strength that's anything but ordinary.
Ugh. All right, let me find the next one, you guys.
Devastating New Year's Eve fire. 40 lives cut short. Many teenagers welcoming in 2026 and never living to see it. More than 100 others were injured.
Cette soirée qui devait marquer le début d'un nouveau départ.
That night was supposed to mark the start of a new beginning, of new promises, survivor Marie told the memorial. But the scene was worse than a nightmare, she said. The piercing cries echoed in the freezing cold, and it was apocalyptic. Across Switzerland, church bells tolled. Voices rose in song, and then all fell silent for 1 minute in remembrance. A national day of mourning that drew leaders from across Europe.
Notre pays est consterné.
Our country is appalled by this tragedy, the Swiss president told mourners. It bows before the memory of those who are no longer with us.
De celles et de ceux qui s'apprêtent.
Video from the night of the fire shows it ripping through the crowded bar in moments as joy turned to catastrophe. Investigators believe sparklers on champagne bottles ignited foam on the ceiling, fueling an inferno. It's since emerged the venue hadn't undergone safety checks for 5 years. The bar's co-owners suspected of manslaughter and arson by negligence, today arriving at a court hearing, before Jacques Moretti was detained in custody. His wife Jessica later left court and became tearful,
C'est une tragédie inimaginable.
telling reporters, "It is an unimaginable tragedy. It happened in our establishment, and I'm sorry."
Et je tiens à m'excuser.
Grief and anger, though, are rippling across this nation, and with them a demand that this must never be allowed to happen again. Sejal Karia, News at 10.
That's right. They've also been arrested due to flight risk. This is the Mirror.
I'm a private chef. Convenient.
Non vuole chiedere scusa alle famiglie, Jessica? Jack, una parola? Neanche scusa, vuol dire.
Volete chiedere scusa? Volete chiedere scusa?
Good grief. See, people weren't really sure like what was going on, and all those young teens probably thought someone would help them
On a pris acte des
put out
modifications
the
dans l'équipe
fire.
du ministère public, des changements de position aussi. On est content que les parties plaignantes puissent enfin être considérées dans cette procédure. On est là aujourd'hui, on est satisfait de l'être. On veut croire que désormais nous sommes dans une bonne dynamique et qu'enfin la procédure va pouvoir sereinement avancer dans l'intérêt de tout le monde.
Oh, good. It is an American
Écoutez, on attend que
American
nos
words.
clients, que les familles puissent avoir des
We
réponses, puissent se
expect
sentir considérées.
something.
Et puis que toutes les responsabilités de A à Z soient établies. Pourquoi
We
ce drame
expect
qui n'aurait
our-
jamais dû avoir lieu a pu se produire
Why
ici
did this
en Suisse,
tragedy, which should
malgré tout un arsenal juridique, un arsenal législatif, un arsenal de surveillance. Pourquoi a-t-il failli?
So, what day was New Year's Eve? I can't even remember, you guys. So they moved that memorial, brought everything inside the tent that we saw because it's snowing now. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, so
Le deuil national n'existe pas dans la Constitution suisse, contrairement à la mise en berne des drapeaux, alors que la cérémonie... Victimes de la tragédie du 1er janvier 2026.
how long is this?
Celles et ceux qui nous ont quittés, celles et ceux qui en ce moment même
lutte
Okay.
encore pour remonter à la surface. À toutes celles et ceux qui les accompagnent dans cette terrible épreuve. Au ministère de l'Intérieur de Roumanie, Monsieur Emidio Sozza, secrétaire d'État
All
aux
the
communautés portugaises,
first responders are there, and they're gonna.
des corps médicaux. Après l'urgence du drame,
Okay. Pictures of the victims. I saw his funeral, and I saw Chiara's, and I saw his funeral. She right there is from France. Was a seasonal worker, and she was a waitress. I saw her carrying out one of the champagne bottles. Let's hear a couple seconds of this. It's beautiful, but I'll get a copyright. Okay, so those were the pictures of the victims, which that's the first time I've seen all of them. Before they showed 6 Italians, right? And the Italian funerals, and that's the first time I've seen them all like that. Apparently 40 people died. Thanks you guys for being here. You're giving up on the pasta maybe tomorrow, Sierra? My son is still on the keto diet, and in 5 days, he's lost 5 pounds. And that's just a fact. And that's the thing. They don't even want you to go out and do a big exercising thing when you're eating this little amount of carbs and having no sugar, no salt. He can't even have a potato, pasta, no rice, not a carrot, not an apple, no milk, no powdered milk, because it all has the natural sugars in it. And so he has carb tortillas, the carb free or whatever tortillas. Well, they're not free, but they're carb less. And he has 2 of those in the afternoon, because he sleeps till noonish anyway, with a cup of strawberries or half a cup of blueberries. He can have that for a fruit. I think melon is allowed, but he doesn't like it that much. Once a day. And then dinner time is 1 tortilla. Oh, inside the tortilla, he has cheese and meat. He could have it stuffed full of roast beef this big if he wanted, or chicken or anything, but he just wants a little bit. He doesn't want too much meat on it. Or cheese. He just wants half of a slice of cheese on his tortilla. So he's eating. Yeah, Sierra really works. You want to lose weight fast too, so that you sort of want to stay on it. I mean, he literally went from 185 pounds 3 years ago, because we weighed him almost every day on the scale because it was exciting to see 4 pounds in one day, 7 when he really got into ketosis, 11 in 1 week. I mean, it was just, anyway, went from 185 in a month and a half down to 161. So, and then he didn't gain it all back right away, which was shocking. It took about a year and a half, but with all these past holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, right? And then his birthday after Christmas, we all splurged. I mean, I bought a cheesecake wheel, and I think we had 2 pies on Thanksgiving, pumpkin and apple. I didn't just get one and we all had a little sliver. No, we splurged. So once he loses this weight again, I'm not going to buy that crap again. I already told him I'm not buying boxes of cheese crackers, and I'm not, maybe some healthy, not maybe, but things like nuts to crunch on. Soy nuts apparently are good for you compared to like potato chips, stuff like that. And so yeah. And he's drinking a lot of water. He isn't having a diet soda or diet Gatorade or something, because as soon as he tastes that sweetness, not as soon, but a little later, he wants the salt. So I give him a little package of nuts in the evening for a snack, and he's drinking tea. And mancha, M-A-N-T-C-H tea, has cayenne pepper and ginger and things in it. I didn't think he'd like it. He likes it, but there is caffeine in it, and for him, it's making his heart race a little, so he doesn't want it anymore. He was drinking that, but matcha tea, not just green teas like Lipton and Celestials and all these. Um, in other words, not any green tea out there, because I saw a program on it, and that's how both of us, he and I, heard about matcha tea. I didn't think we'd have it at Fred Meyer. Like, I thought I'd have to go to some specialty store, and there it was. In fact, I'll run and get a box just to show you for those of you that ever want to try it. It helps get rid of, okay, belly fat. I'll be right back. Okay, this is the tea. Oh, it's not mancha with an N, it's matcha. Matcha green tea. All right. With turmeric, a unique earthy blend of matcha, green tea, and turmeric with a peppery finish. And it says it's green tea, dandelion root, chamomile, nettle, turmeric, fennel, matcha green tea powder, cracked pepper, and natural cayenne pepper flavor with other natural flavors. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to. So it's a Bigelow. Yeah. Yeah, try it, Sierra. It's supposed to matcha green tea. Okay, I assumed any kind of green tea out there would help. He says it's been stripped of all the nutrients to do that. So, yeah. All right, let me see if there's anything else. So they've been arrested, and those owners, and I think they should be, because yeah, they didn't mean to hurt anyone or kill anyone, but you don't skip corners. You don't. I mean, there were like 5 different things that they did that they shouldn't have done. They had 3 checks in 10 years, inspections, but the last 5 years, none. So they overlooked that. The exit was way too narrow, and there was only one way out because the other one was locked or blocked. Yeah, Yeah, do that, Sierra. And then, okay, so there's that. And then pyrotechnics down in a basement. I mean, that should be common sense 101, right? Apparently, there was no fire retardant even put on the insulation. And the fact that they used flammable things for the ceiling like that, which many bars, from what I've read about other fires and other discos and stuff, my last live, I think it was 2 days ago, a lot of people use that kind of thing. Um, and then the amount of people being allowed in, you know. I think it could hold, okay, 300. Don't quote me on this. And they let 400 in that night. And the fact that there were no sprinklers, and the fact that there was no fire extinguisher, not even one in the whole place. I mean, honestly, they just assumed, like so many people do, that they're always just going to be safe and everyone's going to be fine. And then it takes these poor people, looks like 4 adults maybe, and 36 kids, ages 14 to 20, to lose their lives to make changes. I mean, yeah. Chiara's service in Italy, her name is spelled, one of them that passed away, she was 16, Chiara. Can't remember her last name, but her sister spoke. Oh my gosh. She actually, everyone in the place, hundreds of people clapped. She was talking really fast and sniffing, and then as she kept reading, it turned into crying, and then it was sobbing in the middle of her speech, right? And she actually said all kinds of things. Miss I'm gonna miss you asking me to, get you another shampoo, and I'm gonna miss the way you told me to delete my social media. I'm gonna miss knowing you were just always there in the other room for me and would take time for your family and play games and with us, and I'm gonna miss. And then she also said, and I'm angry. I'm angry that you only have been on, were allowed to be on this earth for 16 years and had to die this way and this. Because I put captions on so I could understand, because of course she was talking very quickly while she's bawling in Italian. So sad. Her sister looks like she's maybe 14 or 15. So yeah, but I'm gonna end this live because it's getting close to our dinner time. I've been live a little over an hour. My lives aren't that long, and thanks for being here. If you want to tip your hostess, I've got the little $ down there, and I'm monetized. And if you don't or you can't, maybe you could at least hit the like for me. And if you're willing to, subscribe to me. That would be wonderful. And Sierra, Queen Pin Clark, has a channel too. Go over and give her a sub and check her out. She's really funny and very smart. She's a very intelligent woman, and she's my friend, and she's from Virginia, and I've known her now for a good couple of years, and she could use your support too. So thanks to all my regulars and the new ones that came in and the people that are going to see this later. Know where your exits are, wherever it is. I never have checked, not one time. Not in a restaurant, not a movie theater, a bar. I haven't. And I'm sure there's many of you that haven't either. But we need to know where these things are, and there needs to be tighter regulations. Um, what they're really amazed about is in Switzerland. Yeah, Sierra. In Switzerland, they had tight sort of fire regulation things, but even the mayor, people are kind of upset with the mayor a little bit, and to not upset, but people are looking at everybody, right? The higher officials. Why weren't these inspections, like, people didn't check and make sure they were done? You know what I mean? And yeah, and you're welcome, Sierra. Uh, you know, and who knows when things were inspected even in my town here. I mean, I don't go to bars or drink anymore or anything. It's been years, but people still do. So stay safe. Try to look at the glass half full, not half empty. I've been saying that now off and on for about 6 months, and that's what I need to do too. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. This is Brood Awakening with PCT. Bye.